my machete gonna chop her to the wire.
Hey, bum the way.
Wrapped in spaghetti, about to catch me on fire.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. I don't like living in a simulation.
Hey, bum the way.
Unplug my way back to civilization.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Me take the ink card and I can't see the stars. Me can't feel the human from beyond the avatar. Jump the prison, fuck the algorithm. If your battery is dying, then you get busy living. So come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way.
Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. It is I, John Davis, here in the fabulous John of New Studios, having tremendously good voice tonight. I don't know if you can tell. Things are going well. I hope you guys have been having a great time since I spoke to you last. I know it was a long time in between sessions, but I had a wonderful vacation, which I'm still kind of winding down from, kind of getting back in the groove, so it is. And a couple of things I wanted to remind anyone in the Northeast region, Northeast Ohio region area, that not this Saturday, but next Saturday, my friend Holly Matson will be doing a show up in Cleveland, and I'll be putting out a video tomorrow, again with the locations and stuff. But I am going to go and be her booth assistant. She has done that for me so many times, and so I thought it would be only fair to go be her booth assistant. While she'll be doing Reiki sessions for both people and animals, and you can get on the list and have a Reiki session from Holly right there at the event. I will just be sitting there being my charming self, and if you want to come by and visit Holly and I and chat, we'll be there and available. But that day is all about Holly, and what she's doing there. I'm there in support of her. But if you want to meet me in person or Holly in person, next Sunday, and I'll have a video will come out tomorrow with all of the information as to where. But it's up in Cleveland. Anyway, so let's move into this experience. Let me jump over and say hello to some folks who have joined us. Of course, Chitra, my love. I hope you're having a great one. Bright Love, of course. Hello. Teresa, Kim, Mackenzie. Hey, Mackenzie, how are you? Carol B. Hello, Carol. Jumping down. Larry, my buddy Larry's here. Everything's going great. If you're just popping onto the chat, let us know where you are. I always like to know who I'm talking to and what I'm talking about. As Bright Love has put in the chat, and as you'll see right below me here, if you put all topics and questions in all caps, it makes it much easier for me to be able to see them in the chat boards as they're coming. Hello, James. How are you? And welcome. So whenever you guys are ready, go ahead and throw the chat in. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the past couple weeks, and I'm not ready to share a lot of it yet. But when I do, it'll be very interesting. Also, by the way, I am working with Alex Ferrari again. In the fall, I'll be doing the event with him, the Soul Mastery event, where he's selling weekends of multiple speakers online. And there's a video out there, and I'll be putting another video out about it again. If you sign up through my link, I get a little kickback from that. And you can sign up for all the weekends just go to my link and sign up through me, and then I end up getting a little kickback on that, if you'd be so kind. It's actually got a lot of amazing, speakers, and a lot of big YouTube celebrities on there as well. I also, in August, I'm going to be flying out to Austin, Texas, to go into studio with Alex and do a video from the Next Level Soul TV studios. So that'll be coming out in the fall as well, I'm sure. We're recording it on August 30th, and he is usually about 6 weeks behind releasing videos. So that video will probably come out after the event. The Soul Mastery Summit. Soul Mastery Summit is what it's called. Lot of stuff going on. It's always good to take a break, and I come back from a break, and you get to reassess a lot while you're on a break, which I did a lot of reassessment in Delaware, because I suddenly realized where I was. Hello from Texas. Hello from Winnipeg, New York, and Cleveland. Remarkable. I like that, as you know. But yeah, a lot of things have gone on, and I wanted to talk about. This is going to be a weird kind of segue. I wanted to talk about terrorism. And I'm going to talk about a different kind of terrorism. You know, there's a lot of people in the world who will do things to make you afraid to get something from you, and they'll try to get bad information about you or something. And the number one thing you have to realize when somebody does something like that, the only asset they have is your fear. So don't be afraid. You're the only person that they can really sell it to, or sell your fear to, because you're the only one who has it. And when you look at it from the perspective of, terrorism is the extreme. They're using terror, fear, promoting fear to get something from others. But people do that in all levels of society to each other a lot. And that really can affect people in really bad ways. And oftentimes that becomes the subconscious mind, which then becomes repetitive patterns of self-doubt, self-worth, and all kinds of things like that. But remember, all of it is just leveraging your fear. And if you can be present and fearless, you can release yourself from pretty much anything. I will reveal pretty soon what happened because I'm in the middle of doing something about something that just recently happened to me, and the interesting how just staying in the fearless mode really kind of deflates the people who are trying to get something from you in fear. So let me jump over. I see James, my buddy down there, has dropped a message. Okay, how did Jeshua ben Joseph ever get labeled Christ? Well, it's a very interesting topic, James. Jeshua was a man who was defeating dogma. He was, before Abraham was, I am, but in the books of Abraham, in the Torah, and all of those things, and the teachings of Judaism, they talked about a Messiah who was coming to save them. But the interesting thing about the word Messiah, and Christ is basically just means the anointed one, which is a Greek version of Messiah. But Messiah comes from the word Meshiach. And Meshiach was used for kings of the time. It was people who were anointed into the level of king. You've been anointed king. So this concept of the divinity of Jeshua as the only way, the truth, or the life, actually comes from Paul. And Paul, he's the one who said that your salvation is the death and resurrection of Jeshua. And so over the course of time, it became more and more about this messianic figure, which they then, the concept of a Messiah or a Christ, morphed over time, the understanding or the meaning of it. But in that time, it would have meant a king. It would have meant someone in power over the people. And it's very interesting that the world over the course of 2,000 years, things have changed and morphed in big ways. And in that changing and that morphing, things got much more esoteric. He died for our sins, and people are like, "What's that mean?" And they start to going, he energetically took the sins of the world, and all these things. And the man was showing you that within you is all the power and the divinity, and it was the mind of man that set him on a pedestal and made him something to be revered, or something to be the middleman between you and God. But Jeshua always said the kingdom of heaven is within you, and ye are gods, and greater works than he has done you will do. And he always said that the power was within you, and he never called himself the Messiah. In fact, he never called himself the Son of God in the Bible. He calls himself the Son of Man. Well, I'm a son of man. Basically, it's saying I'm a human. I'm just like you. I'm a son of a man. I'm not a deity. I'm a son of a man. So it really comes down to a very interesting morphing of the understanding of the word Messiah from the word Meshiach, which, like I said, just meant king. They wanted to make a king. They wanted a king who would come in and save the people. Let me jump over again. Great. Bright Love, it's a great question. How do you advise handling the loss of someone close to you? First of all, remember that you're the one who's away. They just want back into the oneness of God and the experience of the oneness of God and a greater awareness of everything that is. Life is eternal. We go across and we become more aware of everything around us and everything that's in us. And they're very aware of of people even asking this question. But they, when they were here, they would never want to see you suffer. They would never want to see you in grief. So the greatest way to honor them is to remember them for who they are and laugh and enjoy the moments of and memories that are positive. If this is their life, it's only this last part at the end that was the death. It's this little tiny part over here. Well, do you want to spend your life in grief, remembering them for that little tiny part of their life when this is the whole of their life? This is all the stuff. This is who they really were. And the more you stay focused on, not only have they not left me, but they were amazing. And that's why I love them so much, because right here, right now, this person who I love so much, this sadness over here is really just the sadness at losing the physical expression of their love. And understand, their love hasn't left, only the awareness of it in the physical. So remember the positives, focus on the positives, and remember they're not gone, and they're actually more aware of what's going on in your life now than ever, because now they understand what you're thinking too. And my mom has come through a medium multiple times and has said things that people in our family were thinking, and that is very important to understand. They are not gone. It's a great question, though. Thank you, Bright Love. Thank you, Ashley. Well, thank you. Be remarkable. See, I actually thoroughly enjoy being with Alex because I just like Alex. He's a really fun guy. I don't jive with a lot of his guests, but yeah, he's fun to hang out with. I'm looking forward to meeting his wife, Mara Cruz, because she seems just like a lovely person as well. So, let me jump down. This is a good one. I think I'm remembering memories before this life. I've been having feelings, sensation, and dreams, unprovoked, tears, and it's so real for months. I had heavy leg pain, and it vanished last week. Well, good thing the pain went away. But let's talk about the past life memories, because if they felt real to you, then they're probably real. But you're the only one who can decide whether they are real or not. It took a lot of people to convince me about my past life story, because I was not having it. And when the opportunity came for me to have an experience and actually have an experience that I knew was true and I couldn't deny it, then I went all in. And in going all in, it's been one of the greatest things in my life. Of course, look at me, what I'm doing right now. Everything's based upon the fact that I remember that past life. But understand, we're all in the oneness of God, and you may be remembering amazing stories from a past life, or you may be tapping into the oneness of God and picking up information. Either way, it's still you, because you're one with God, and having memories of a past life might actually just be you broadening into greater awareness. So I thank you for sharing that, Mackenzie. Steve Boldesano, how are you? welcome. Happy Friday to you too. Monica, hello. This is a very interesting question. When the rug has been pulled out from under you so many times, how can you live without fear that something else will happen? Well, nothing can happen to you without your permission, right? And when you look at this question, it's very interesting. You have a belief, because of all of your experiences, that things go bad. But this comment is actually a justification that it'll go bad again. But nothing changes in the past, and the future is just a substance waiting for your belief. But if you continue to believe from your subconscious mind that things are just going to go bad, then it's going to continue to go bad. So here's what I suggest you do: is your subconscious mind is a collection of present moment memories, which means it's in your past. So, but your past, those memories of the present moment, are exactly that, memories of the present moment. So I would say draw your time close, get right here, and just only focus on making a good present moment. I am doing this. Stop looking outside of yourselves for the stimulus of the world. Bad things can seem to be happening, but it's how you react to them that makes them worse. And so what I would say is the first time you go into your world, first of all, exhale. Let the fear out, because that is how the fight or flight response is released. You let go of the air that the fight or flight response is holding. And then take a positive action. Remember the Bhagavad Gita when it said, thought by thought you forge your destiny. Therefore, to keep your mind on the positive rather than the negative is considered the austerity of the mind. Your comment, Amanda, is very much based upon negative because you've had negative experiences, but you can change the way you react to them. Say, oh, that was crappy, but now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing something more. Put yourself into declaring your future as opposed to regurgitating your past. I hope that makes sense, Amanda. Hello, V-Man. How are you? How's it going? Monica. Okay, Larry. Fear or the manipulation of it is a fascinating topic. Seems to have always been on the tip of the spear of human conflict. I celebrate peace, love, and are the center of who we were and are. You know, it is an interesting topic, but to me, it is the only real topic. You know, I believe the physical world is a dance between love and fear. Love being everything and one, and fear being the illusion of love's absence. But it is that fear that we have that keeps us from experiencing that love. But it also is the fear that we have that shows us what the purity of love really is, because we could never understand or know the purity of love without the feeling of its absence, without the baseline to measure against. And so, you know, but how you manage fear, it will be a direct representation of the product of your life. So you sit there and go, I'm fearless, I'm joyful, I'm fearless. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, because it is the main topic. Buddha says the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear, and the Sufis say that the veil between you and God is your fear, and our life is a struggle against the veil, but we can overcome the veil. And so it really comes down to a beautiful experience and expression of understanding that fear is just a tool to know love more fully. And then when fearful thing comes, you have the ability to just release it and go, okay, I'm not succumbing to fear. And your life changes in a very big way. Amanda, I'm so glad you said it this way. I'm working on calming it down. It's one moment at a time, right? And you can, if you just create one present moment that's positive, it becomes the subconscious mind right behind you. And you do it again, it becomes the subconscious mind. You do it again, it becomes the subconscious mind. And what happens is all those other things that happened get further and further away from your experience until they're moot. They're out of your reality. And the only thing behind you is this beautiful expression of single present moments you created. And then that becomes your subconscious mind that you naturally work towards. So I would say don't worry about working on it. And don't worry about anything, actually. I would say just focus on one moment being good, and then focus on another moment being good. When someone usually says, I'm working on it, my next question is usually, how long do you want to work on it? Because I am working on it I am is God's name, and whatever you ask in God's name is granted, and you can continue to work as long as you want. Remember, in your comment, you literally used the contraction I'm, which is God's nickname. How was my vacation with my son? We had a great time. We were very efficient. We got down there and and we did two of everything. We did Louis Pizza one time. We did Grotto's one time. No, so we did Louis Pizza 2 times, Grotto's 2 times, Casa Pola subs. You know, my whole vacation was a food orgy. But we just did all the things. We had a checklist of things to do, and we just did them all. We went to the beach and had amazing days at the beach. Beautiful, beautiful sunny days. The waves were perfect. The water was not cold. It was just really lovely. But of course, a little crowded for my standards. I prefer to go down to Assateague, but we didn't get down there to Assateague. We were in Lewis this time. I don't like having crowds around me like that. I'd much rather be way out with the wild horses on Assateague. Well, Larry, I'm glad you like that one. And I would actually change it. Fear is the illusion of love's absence, because it's an illusion. It's fear. Fear is an interesting animal because in the present moment it's only an emotional reaction, but it's always an emotional reaction to past experiences or an expectation that something negative might happen in the future. So fear is not rooted in the present, but you can't do anything in the past and you can't do anything in the future. So all you can do to manage fear in the present is to manage the reaction itself. And the reaction is to suck a bunch of air into our lungs and hold it. So just the simplicity of exhale is life-changing for people. Steve, that's awesome. That's great. And just live it one day at a time. Enjoy loving one another, you know? I leave you one commandment, love one another. That's what the guy said. Thank you for the peace and calm I am joyfully receiving. Well done, Amanda. That's great. I am joyfully receiving. Notice that word joyfully. I use the word joyfully all the time because I want to get things in ways that don't suck. So that's awesome. Oh, well, my son looks a lot. Yes. When he was young, especially, everybody used to tell me, well, "You can't deny that that's your son," but he's not excited about the idea of this, which I can't wait to see if he. I don't think he'll go bald, but yeah, he's a little worried about that right now. This is a very interesting question. Thank you, Samantha, for asking it. Do you think forgiveness is really necessary in order to grow and move on? Is it possible to not be angry and yet still not forgive? You're speaking in a conundrum because forgiveness is to give love first, right? My father was not a kind man to me, and I can look at my father and not like anything he did to me. I can really despise the things that he did to me. But I can understand that my father, had a father who was also an alcoholic, and had a lot of issues. And I don't even remember my grandfather, but I've been told he used to get me a beer, and he really brash kind of guy. So I know my father really was just carrying on what he learned as a child. My father probably had a little bit of arrested development. He was probably still living out that belief in the child. So I had to come to the moment of understanding that I can give love first by understanding that he was that way because of the way he was brought up. There was a time a lady contacted me and she was telling me, I hated my mother. She did terrible things to me, and now she's coming to me in dreams, and I don't want her to. How do we get her to stop coming to me? And I say, what did she look like when she came to you in the dream? And she says, that's the weird thing. She comes as a 13-year-old girl. I said, you want to know why? She said, yeah. I said, because that's the last time she was her authentic self. Something happened to her at 13 that changed her and made her the person that you knew that was unkind. She was acting out because of something that happened to her when she was a child. And you can look at that child with forgiveness and forgive them because they didn't know any better. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. You don't have to like the actions. You don't have to care for the actions. But the only thing that's happening in this comment is you're carrying it. You're carrying it on. You're holding on to it. There's a famous Buddhist story of a Buddhist master and his student, and he comes to a river. And there's an old woman standing on the river trying to get across the river, and she's terrified because she's going to be swept away by the water. And she says to the Buddhist teacher, she says, "Can you help me across the river?" Without a single thought, the master throws her on the shoulder, carries her across the river, sets her down. And then he and the student keep walking. About 2 miles down the road, the student's just getting angrier and angrier and madder and madder. And finally, he just can't take it anymore. He says, "Master, how dare you? How dare you touch a woman? You know we're not allowed to touch a woman. That's terrible. You've just gone completely against everything we believe." And the master said, "I put her down 2 miles ago. Why are you still carrying her?" And you can carry this, Samantha, as long as you want, but you're the one who has to put it down because you're the one carrying it. You know, whatever they did, that was because of their circumstances. But your life and your experience is all about your choices and your beliefs, and you're letting it go. So I think of forgive, I think it's spelled wrong. It should be FORE-give. Forgive. Give love first. And understand that, yeah, the things they did were bad, but that was yesterday. And today I'm doing something different. I hope that answers your question, Samantha. And in letting it all out, Mackenzie, you have broken free of the cycle of it, and that's beautiful. Um, yeah. So, and Tammy Jean, my father had a head of hair until the day he died. My mom's father had, he had a head of hair, but he had a high widow's peak. And when I had hair, I had a very high widow's peak. But my father's brother completely bald, and I will tell you, the day I cut my hair off, one day I looked in the mirror. I used to wear wire rim glasses, and one day I looked in the mirror, and Ben Franklin looked back at me. So that was the day I cut off all of my hair, and I never regretted it once. It was having a bald head is so easy and so lovely. I don't go to a barber; I go to my razor. Patrick Piera, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you, MP, for the love you're sending my way. And I love doing these live streams. I think they're wonderful. I had to move to once a month just because of the fact of I want to have a life. Oh, thank you, JC. I like your initials too. Right. I'm glad that my truth resonates with you. But understand, it's always your truth that you're finding. And if something I do say doesn't work, then don't take it. But I appreciate this message. And for me, just so you know, my guide when it comes to spirituality is something I said in my first regression. I said it's all so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. So the second one of these, as you did, quote, spiritual speakers start speaking, and it starts getting complex and starts getting into processes and modalities and techniques and dogmas. It's not for me. I think it's all far simpler. I love that message. Thank you very much, JC. Samantha, I'm glad that answer worked. Oh, well, there you go. So your fake $100 bill was said to be laced. So don't let go of what you're joyfully receiving, though, because your job is not to know how it's going to happen. It's just to keep holding on to the fact that you will receive it, and you'll get it. Sherilyn, how are you? Welcome. Sunshine Girl. There you are. I love this question, Steve. The reason I love this question is because I truly believe that the lines where he says he's fulfilling scriptures were Paul's and later people, because you have to remember the Bible is written by the New Testament is written by Greco-Roman Christians between Paul's writings, they're saying into the 50s now, but somewhere between 50 and 200 years after the crucifixion. And they're written by Greco-Roman Christians with a messianic belief, a messianic agenda. And so I don't believe he ever said it, but there's a lot of things in Scripture that I don't believe it ever says. If you go over to my Recovering Catholic channel, or it might be on this channel, I forget which one it's on, I did what I considered a breakdown of the Beatitudes. I think it's probably the other channel. And it's very interesting because at the beginning, it's all these beautiful, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are this. But then there's this marked line where suddenly all these much more complex things that were fulfillment of the law and very much a messianic thing. I don't think he said any of the lower stuff. I think he probably might have said something like the upper stuff. But it's still, no matter what you're looking at in the Bible, it's all hearsay, because Joshua never wrote anything down. Ask yourself a question. When you're looking at the red letter words of the Bible, and Joshua is alone in the desert battling Satan, who said that? Who wrote it down? It makes absolutely no sense that he came back and said, "Oh, hey guys, listen to this. I'm writing this down now that I was battling Satan in the desert." Well, the interesting thing about that, even that story, is in that time period, the word Satan did not mean what it means today. It was a word called Satan, which meant accuser or sometimes even temptation. And so imagine going into the desert to really contemplate what's happening in your life and contemplating and then going, "Oh my God, I'm tempted by this offer of becoming the Messiah," right? And so now you've got am I going to take the money and become a king, or am I going to spread this message of love? And I'm struggling in the desert, trying to figure out I am my own accuser, my own Satan. And so it's so fascinating to me how the churches have morphed, and how over the course of time they've leaned more and more into the hateful rhetoric of Paul. And that being said, the new Pope just did it again. He said marriage between a man and a woman. He kind of reiterated that, and he followed that right up with the Catholicism is the only true faith. So he's completely divided the world against Catholics, and he's saying that love in any form is not wrong, but some of it is. You can't love a man if you're a man. You can't love a woman if you're a woman. You can't be in a polyamorous situation. But this whole situation, if it's loving and if it's caring, then there's nothing wrong with it, because God is love, in my opinion. You got me on my soapbox, Steve. um, da, 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 da. Well, Sherilyn, I love this question. Hi, John. I dream about my fiance who has passed. The last dream I had about him, he seemed irritated. Do you think those who have passed want us to let them go? I don't think they want for anything. I think this is a very physical world idea. But I think what this is you being able to let him go. You don't ever have to let him go, but if you think about it from the prospect of moving on, it's time to move on and understand you can love him the rest of your life from the other on the other side, because he's around you all the time. You're in the oneness of God with him. You're the one who's not aware, and he is aware. So understand that the irritations and the negative feelings that you're getting are probably your own, and probably not his, but we interpret things in our dreams from our physical world beliefs and perspectives. And so, do I think you might have connected to him? Sure, absolutely. But I think the interpretation is coming from your ideas about it and about what's going on in your physical life. I hope that answers that question. Yeah, I don't think he's irritated at all. I just think that you're going through a process. Well, there you go. Thank you, Bright Love, for the Recovering Catholic link. Larry, I'm so glad you asked that question because I was going to say something about that tonight. Since I hang on, let me make sure I'm right here. Where is it? Okay. So since December, I have lost a total of 39 pounds. I did the math. So since December, I've lost a total of almost 40 pounds. I am right now. I went on vacation, and I'm sure during vacation I gained some weight. But when I came back, I did not get on the scale. I specifically jumped back on my very satiating diet, and then I weighed myself after a week, and I was down from before my vacation. So I probably gained weight while I was away because I was eating all kinds of food. But feeling great. I feel absolutely wonderful. And today, like I said, I was talking, and my voice was feeling so clear today, which is the way I was eating before. I was having a lot of reflux stuff, and that affects my throat. And today I was just having really clear voice, and it makes me excited when I have a really clear voice. So thanks for asking that. Yeah, make sure you check out Holly's channel. Make sure, like I said, if you're in Cleveland next Saturday, not tomorrow, but next Saturday, swing by that event, which I'll put up a video about it tomorrow, and come visit me and come see Holly and get a Reiki session from Holly. Yeah, and you know what? There's a Bible quote, Mackenzie, that says, "Be still and know that I am God." And I am in God. I am is God's name. So be still and know that I am. Right there, when you come to that deep breath and that relaxed sensation, that's the stillness where you are. That's you. In that moment, you don't have fear, and you're completely present. And those are the two key elements that lead to greater spiritual experiences. Be present moment and fearless. And if you can bring yourself to the present moment fearless, that's why it's I am, not I was or I will be, right? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. It's all about that present moment fearlessness and coming back to that in that deep breath, right? So, and remember when Joshua supposedly came back after the crucifixion, he went to the upper chamber with the disciples. What did he do? He breathed on them. Amanda, when someone's indoctrinated into a faith, and it's your mom, it's probably been in it a long time, she doesn't want to be told or challenged that her faith is wrong. The only way to really help her is to not tell her what's wrong with her faith, but to be an example of love and compassion, and let it go, and let her experience the love of God through your love. And yes, I know it's loving to tell her that, to explain about the Lucifer was a myth, and but it does, all that stuff doesn't matter if you are a representation of love in her life. You're delivering God to her, and she'll be happier just because she'll feel safe with you. But challenging her deep-seated beliefs doesn't make her feel safe with you. It makes you a challenge. And so I would say, let her think whatever she wants, but be the example of what your truth is. And I hope that answers or helps you with that. Yeah, hey guys, go over and subscribe to Bright Love's channel. She put that in in the chat, I'll wait. Jump over and do it. You can do it. I have faith in you. Make sure you fill her channel up with subscribers. Okay, I'm back. Thanks. I'm proud of my weight loss. So wait, I'm gonna hit the 100-pound mark like I've been saying, and I'm gonna keep going. When I get down to my goal, my full end goal is to be 200 pounds, and I'm still above 3, but I will soon be below 3. I'll be in Tudorville. Oh well, my shoulder. I always lose weight in my shoulders. Below the camera, I'm like 10 feet wide. Thanks, Bright Love. Larry, you are so correct. This is a great and loving group, and what's really interesting is we haven't had to kick out a bunch of trolls in the live stream. I think Bright Love, answer me. Do you remember only doing that once, kicking someone out once, or have you had to kick out others? Let us know, because it seems like it's just a beautiful, loving group all the time. I haven't seen them, and I usually see everything, and I haven't seen them. Hi, Vicky. How are you? Hi, John. Hi, all. I've heard some accounts of Jesus living a human life after the crucifixion. Do you have any thoughts on this? Well, for me, I have to go from only the memories that I have, but I do know that in Hinduism, they say that he was Sri Isa, who was in India from the time he was a child up until the time he was around 30. He came back to Israel and came back to Jerusalem, right? And during that time, they can tell you where he was in India and all that stuff. And then after the crucifixion, they believe he came back with his wife and raised children and died in India. So, though I can't claim that I know that to be true, but I can tell you I hope it's true, because I really want them all to have a happy ending. You know, they were lovely, wonderful people, and I would love to see them have this amazing life of joy and happiness, being able to express. Oh, hey, there I am. Look at me. Being able to express my my joy at their life going forward. So I hope so. And I'm going to choose to believe it happened. There you go. Hi, Gabby. How are you? I get this question a lot. And it's an interesting question. First of all, you have to understand that The Chosen is produced and written by the Mormons. So they're very much it's very much a messianic sort of idea. So there's a lot of messianic things in there. The one thing that did kind of shock me a little bit was the scene where he meets John and James. It didn't, in my memory, it did not happen the way it happened there. But the scenery that they chose really looked very close to my past life regression. And I had my past life regression in 1999, so I wasn't influenced by that at all. You know, the rocky shore, the water, the very, very much, the location looked very right to me. But when I can't watch it because there's too much messianic agenda stuff in there, so I just don't watch it. But so yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting, but yeah, the real question is, Gabby, what do you think of it? I mean, has it helped you understand that the man of Jeshua more, and understand that he was just showing us how we can love, and not that you have to come to him to be loved? Very well said, Mackenzie. Casually breathing is where stillness resides. I'm a goober. I'm a goober. What do you mean I'm a goober, Bright Love? I know I'm probably way behind all of you guys. I'm trying to zip through. Ah, look at you. Oh, the goober. Someone subscribed to Bright Love's channel. Okay, so that must have been what I was doing. Yeah, you've only kicked out the one person. Exactly right. I remember that one person. Um, let's see. John, I know that you don't know what reincarnation is, but I've been struggling with the idea of reincarnation when forced. If someone doesn't want to reincarnate personally, that doesn't sit right with me. Well, what's not sitting right with you is the belief you've chosen to believe about reincarnation. When you cross over, you're going to have an understanding that's very different from what you're experiencing here. You are you are literally looking at this from the position of fear, and subjugation, but you have no idea what it actually is. So there's no real reason to get upset or worried about it, or if it not have it sit right with you, when it's possibly not even true. So that would be my take on this. Since you don't know, it makes no sense to get angry at something you don't know, and no one knows, even me. So that's my thought on that one. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, I love that, Gabby. Yeah, it really that idea of the chosen being, you know, all art is subjective, and I like sci-fi and superhero movies, and I'm going to go see Superman on Saturday. Um, but to me, be art all being subjective. My son likes anime, and is really into that, and it's just really not something um, that I buy into. So he can love it, and that's wonderful. Yeah. A tavern owner warned the group that a room was haunted by his grandma. Jesus said, "Oh, I'll take that one." That's a good one. Yeah, well, Gabby, that's great. You feel that he really was love, and that in my regression, walking up to the crowd where he was, you could feel his love before you got there. You could feel this charisma. Now, and people say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, charisma? That's not the right word." It is the right word. Charisma is the feeling of someone who is completely fearless. Someone walks in the room and they're just completely authentic. They're not worried about anything, and they have charisma. People go, who's that? Right? Jeshua had it to such extreme, you could feel it from him before he got to him. He had eradicated fears in his life, and he'd come down to just being loving and compassionate. And and that feeling carries you forward into it carried him forward into all the people around him. So as I walked towards the group, I could feel it, and I started to lose my own breath. Oh my God, you could feel him. Well, what is that? Oh, that's an exhale. It was kind of forcing my own fears out of me. It was pushing me into a space that was just lovely. And I have to say, to me, um, it's my memories of that in itself are what I try to be every day. I know I said try, but um, all I am doing is I'm being my 100% authentic self. I'm putting myself out there. No matter what comes into my life, I will be that love as much as I possibly can be, because me just walking through life, feeling that love within me, and smiling at people and delivering that love to others is what Joshua did. It literally put us. The world around him loved more, and the people who were in fear are the ones who did the harmful things. So anyway, that was my thought on that. Let's see, where are we? Uh, oh, I think we don't have any more comments right now. Are you guys still with me? If you are, let me know. And if you have any more questions, let me know. We got about 10 minutes left on this live stream tonight, and it, let's see. It's like a roller coaster. You're terrified half the time, then get off and say, "That was awesome. Let's go again." That's funny. That's funny. It's and it's it. I'm not a big believer in like soul contracts or pre-pan lives, But I do think we choose our lives like we choose our careers. We go, hey, I'd like to try that career. I'd like to try that life. I'd like to try that experience. And then when we come down, we can do whatever we want with it. We have the free will to do whatever we want with it. And so when we get here and we're in the I am moment, the present moment, and we know that each moment we can make a choice, and that choice can be based in love or fear or somewhere in between. And it's a matter of, and the outcome of our experience will be the belief we choose to put into the present moment. Oh, Shirley, thank you so much. That's so lovely to hear. You know, it's always nice to get a validation that you're doing something in the positive in the world. And I have to say, I get a lot of positivity from people who tell me that that the work I do impacts them, and it always feels good. It always feels good. So thank you. Yeah. JC, this is exactly right. It's just like meditation. You go in and you just practice the meditation idea until the quiet times last longer and you have beautiful meditation. You go in, you paint. You know, it's like the difference between this painting and that painting. Technique wise, this one's a much better painting because I that painting was painted in the year 2000, and this one was painted this past September. And somewhere in between there, I've done a lot more time on the brushes. I love them both, but this one is a far better painting when you see it in person because it looks more real, and that's my style. So yeah, it is the consistency. You just keep going. Larry, this is a very unique question. Do I have any questions that resonate as a mystery to you? You know, when your entire belief system is based around simplicity, there's not a lot of mysteries. You know, I really do believe it's simple. I really do believe we come down to, we are love, and we are here to experience love, here experience fear, to come to know, experience fear and overcome it, to come to know love more fully, to experience ourselves in the oneness of God. I think the mysteries that we find are when we get into our head about spirituality. But I do believe spirituality is far more simple and far more easy. And you go and you just be and do things that are fun. My sister and Holly and I stayed at a hotel during that event in Columbus. And I remember walking up to the front desk, and there was a obviously Indian woman there, and she was just lovely, and she was very kind, and we were talking, and I said to her, "So what part of Ireland are you from?" And she started laughing, and we started joking. We started going back and forth, and she told me her name, and I pronounced her name correctly in India, and she's like, "Well, how do you know that?" I said, "Well, my name is John Davis, the most generic name in the world, and I have a fascination with names, so I always like to make sure I say names completely. And when I traveled to India, I learned that that's how you say your name." And so she and I were just having a lovely conversation, right? But it's a matter of going there and even in that moment saying, what part of Ireland are you from? She started laughing. What's a laugh? A laugh is a joyful exhale. I gave her that moment of feeling that simple present moment fearlessness, knowing that I was not a jerk and I was a nice guy in front of her who was just making her laugh. And at one point before I left to go to my room, she said, "You're wonderful." And I was, "Well, thanks. That's great." And, but that's the point, is be wonderful. Be that beautiful, beautiful person inside of you that is always there. See, my born again experience was with two people about unconditional love, and something happened between my heart and my head, and this energy of ecstasy burst out of my heart into the room. Beautiful. So when you say born again, are you a born again Christian? Is that what that means? Because if you are, most born again Christians that I've met are very judgmental about you have to believe what they believe. So, but your comment is all about unconditional love and feeling that love bursting from you. So I'm conflicted with the comment because I don't understand. Are you a born again Christian? or are you having this experience? I don't know. Yeah, let me know. I'd love to know. Well, Tammy Jean, it's like I said. I think that we look at, we go, hey, I'd like to try that experience to see what that's about. No, when you think about this, when people die and they go over and they cross over, they have the near death experience. They have the life review. Now, what happens in the life review? They experience their life not only from their perspective, but from the emotional perspective of everyone they ever encountered in that experience, right? Well, think about that. They're literally experiencing how love felt from both sides of love and fear. And so the idea of coming down here to be born with physical challenges have chosen that. Yeah, they're coming down to experience and see what that life is like. But I don't think it's predestined or free-fated. I think it's a choice. You know, my brother Mike was in a very serious car accident when I was in college, and he's been, struggling with brain damage his whole life. When I first started coming into my spirituality, I was at a family dinner or probably Christmas or something. I sat next to him. We're just talking, and I said, do you want to heal this? And he got up and walked away. So I think my brother was experiencing what he chose, and he did not want to be healed. He didn't want to have that experience because I was going to help him come to that belief. But yeah, the second I asked, he got up and walked and left away. Yeah, the jiggle board. That's so funny. Oh, okay, David. I was confused. Thank you for clarifying that. You stop wanting it and you change it. I know that sounds so flippant of an answer. How do you be happy where you're at when you want to change things you don't like? Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the and so obviously I'm assuming this is a job situation, right? Then joyfully transition into a new experience that you love more and hold on to that beautiful expression. Interesting. David, I understand that, the born in spirit. Yeah, there's many interpretations of that as well, but I understand what you're saying. Oh, look at that. Bright love is holding me to my time. Oh, Mackenzie is too. You people love me. I love it. Eternally bright love. 3 minutes. Am I really at 3? Oh, smokes. I'm going to jump down. All right, so I'm going to start winding this down so I don't get yelled at by Mackenzie and Bright Love. And Chitra's not here to do it either, so I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Guys, this has been lovely as usual. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sunshine Girl, that's exactly right. God is love. And here in the now, this is a great way to end this. God is love, and anytime you are being love or delivering love or living love, like in a Live Loving live stream, that is love. And when you're doing something you love, you're expressing God because God is love. It is that simple, in my opinion. Anyway, my friends, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful, wonderful night, and I'm going to have the whole... tomorrow, by the way, I know I've got just 2 minutes left. I got it. Tomorrow morning, I am being interviewed for a channel in Dubai, and I will let you know. And I'm offering them the discount, so let me know if you want that. I can get you the discount on private sessions like I do for everybody else. And tomorrow night, I'm going to see Superman with my son, so I'm going to have a great weekend. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. You guys have a great weekend, and I love you, and I'll see you in a month. See ya. Bye. Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.